Hello and welcome to this video on finding fractional parts with Cubitt Education. So let's start with what is a fraction. A fraction means to break something up. So it actually comes from the Latin word fracto, which means to break. So if you keep that in mind, fractions are actually really easy. If I say I want a fifth of 200, I would break 200 into 5 pieces. So that means I divide. So to break up or to share means divide. 200 divided by 5 is 40. This means that 1/5, or a fifth written like this, 1 over 5, of 200 is 40. How about a seventh of 56? This means we're going to split 56 into 7 pieces. 56 divided by 7 is 8. Now, this would be easier if you do know your times tables, so please revise them and watch some of our videos on little tips and tricks on how to learn your times tables really fast. So 1/7 of 56 is 8. Pause the video and find the fractions of these numbers and press play for the answers. Now you can have a go without a calculator or with, but again, if you practice your times tables, it will be much easier. Now we do have a small video on dividing by 2, 4, 8 and 16 and 3, 6, 12 and 24, which might help you with some of these methods. So if you pause the video and you've had a go, here are the answers. So a quarter of 300. Now if you've watched our video on dividing by 2, 4, 8 and 16, which is very short, you will know that to find a quarter of something or to divide something by 4 means that you half it and half it again. Half of 300 is 150 and half of 150 is 75. So your answer should be 75. Or you could have just put in your calculator 300 divided by 4. A sixth of 1200. Now this one's even easier. If you take off those zeros and just have 12, well 12 divided by 6 is 2. So your answer should be 200. Because you add the zeros back on. And then an eighth of 400. So 400 divided by 8 is 50. Another way to do that one is think about it as 40 divided by 8, which is 5, and then add the 0 on the end. But again, there's some videos on those, so please go back and watch them and it will help you with your division. Okay, so what about when the number on the top is bigger than 1, So instead of it being 1/5, what if it's like 3/5? So in this case, you need to remember a rule. So let's have a look at 3/5 of 200. This means we need to split the fraction into 5 as we did before, because that's the number on the bottom. So we still have to split 200 into 5 pieces, and that gives us 40. And then I need 3 lots of 40, because 3 is on the top. So I divide by 5, which gives us 40, and then I do 40 times 3, which is 120. So you divide by the bottom number and times by the top. So 3/5 of 200 is 120. The rule we have to remember, as I said before, is divide by the bottom number and times by the top number. Let's do another example. 4/7 of 56. So we need to do 56 divided by 7, which is 8, and then 8 times 4, which is 32. And that's our answer. 4/7 of 56 is 32. Pause the video and have a go at finding the fractions of these numbers. Okay, so if you pause the video and had a go, I'm going to go through the answers. So these were the same numbers that we used before, so you should already know the first part. So 300 divided by 4 was 75, and then 75 times 3 is 225. Again, if you're not sure how to do multiplication on paper or even in your head, we do have some videos on that as well. So 1200 or 1200 divided by 6 was actually 200, and then 200 times 5 is 1000. Can you remember what 400 divided by 8 was? It was 50. 50 times 7 is 350. So well done. So let's have a look at some exam questions then. These are typical questions that you might get on a GCSE paper, but don't worry if you're not doing your GCSEs or you're just doing this for yourself or your children. Either way, it's really good to have a go at some more complicated questions so that you can understand fractions in a little bit more detail. So let's read the question. A school has 1,200 pupils. 575 of these pupils are girls. It now tells me that 2/5 of the girls like sport and 3/5 of the boys like sport. Work out the total number of pupils in the school who like sport. Well, first of all, it says that there are 1,200 pupils and 575 of these are girls. So we know how many girls there are, but we just need to know how many boys there are first. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1,200 take away 575. If we do that, it gives us 625. Now, if you want to pause the video and write down the question, and then write some notes down so that you understand the question exactly, I'd recommend that now. So on your paper, you can write down that there are 575 girls and 625 boys. Now it says that 2/5 of the girls like sports. So we need to find 2/5 of 575. So we need to do 575 divided by the bottom number, which is 5, and that gives us 115. Again, that's quite a large division sum if you're not familiar with division. There is also a video on that on our website and during this course. So then we're going to need to do 115 times 2, which gives us 230. So there are 230 girls who like sport. So you can write that down. And again, I'd recommend pausing the video throughout and writing down these notes, because then if you'd like to come back to it later, you'll understand it in a lot of detail, rather than just writing down scribbles of answers and you're not sure what you did where. This is one of the things that I found difficult when teaching, was that students wouldn't write down their working out, they'd just write down the answers, and then when it came to revision, they didn't really have a clue what they were reading. So I would really recommend writing good, clear answers with lots of working out, even if it's just for yourself and not for the person who's going to be marking your work. Okay, so now we know how many girls there are who like sport. Let's deal with the boys. Can you remember how many boys there were in the class? Or in the school, sorry? There were 625. So 3/5 of 625 like sport. So 3/5 of the boys like sport, and we worked out that there are 625 boys. 625 divided by 5 equals, that's supposed to say, 125. Okay, 625 divided by 5, and excuse my mistake, that is supposed to be an equal sign, is 125. Okay, and then we're just going to have to times that by 3 because that's what's on the top of our fraction, and that gives us 375. So 375 boys like sport and 230 girls like sport. Now it asks us for the total number of pupils in the school who like sport, so we just need to add those together, and that gives us 605. Okay, that's exam question 1 done. Let's have a look at another one. Please pause the video as we go, just to make sure that you're keeping up. Okay, so this one's quite a long one, but not too difficult. There are 800 pupils on the train at Manchester. 1/10 of these 800 people are children. Sorry, did I say pupils? I meant to say people. And it asks us to work out 1/10 of 800. So, 1/10 of 800, that's nice and easy. All we have to do is 800 divided by 10. Which equals 80. Again, dividing by 10 and 100 and 1,000 is really easy, and there is a video on that, a short video on that on the website, and there will be a longer one on your course for you as well. You've probably already watched that, so I'm hoping that you're very good at dividing by 10 and 100 and 1,000 right now. So if we divide by 10, we just take off a 0, and that gives us 80, so our answer is 80. Okay, let's look at the second question. 3/8 of those 800 people are women. Work out 3/8 of 800. Well, 3/8 of 800 is 800 divided by 8, which gives us 100, and 100 times 3 is 300. Nice and easy. The rest of the 800 people are men. Work out the number of men on the train. Okay, so the number of children is 80, the number of women is 300. We have a total number of 800 people. Take away the 380 gives us 420 men on the train. And finally, 320 of the 800 people are under 21 years old. Work out 320 out of 800 as a percentage. Now this one is a little bit different and we did cover it in equivalences, I think. So what we're going to do is work out 320 out of 800 as a percentage. And all we need to do is write that as a fraction, like this. 320 out of 800. Now we need to cancel that down. Oh, no we don't, sorry, it's as a percentage, so we don't even need to cancel it down. Now it depends on the question paper. If it's a calculator paper, all you need to do is take your 320 and divide it, this line here means divide, by 800 on your calculator, and you'll be given this. And by now you should definitely know what 0.4 is as a percentage. It's 40%. We just times it by 100. Now, if this was a non-calculator paper, what you would have to do is cancel this down as much as possible. So what I would do here is I would just keep cancelling down that fraction. So as you can see, we can actually divide both numbers. By cancelling down, I mean to divide it to make it smaller. Both top and bottom will be divided by 10 because they both end in 0. So I can just take a 0 off, 32 over 80. And then I would just keep dividing by 2. I would half all of the numbers. So that would give me 16 over 40, 8 over 20, and then 4 over 10. And I don't need to go any further because you should now know that 4 over 10 actually gives us 40%. Okay? But like I say, if it's a calculator paper, all you need to do is top divided by bottom. Okay? Alright, let's have a go at another one. Danny shares a bag of 20 sweets with his friends. He gives Mary 3/5 of the sweets. He gives Anne 1/10 of the sweets. He keeps the rest for himself. How many sweets does Danny keep for himself? So the first thing we have to work out is how many Mary gets. So, Mary gets 3/5 of the 20. So we do 20 divided by 5, which equals 4, because we always divide by the bottom number. And then we do 4 times 3, 4 times the top number, which is 12. So Mary gets 12 sweets. He gives Anne 1/10. So that's 1/10 of 20. So we don't have to do anything with the top number on this one because it's a 1. We only have to do something with the top when the number isn't 1. So 20 divided by 10 is 2. So she gets 2 sweets. And now we just need to find out how many he's got left. So he gives away 14 sweets altogether. 12 add 2 is 14. 20 take away 14 is 6. So he gets 6 sweets. That's a nice easy one. Okay, a class has 29 students. 16 of the students are girls. What fraction of the students are boys? Well, first of all, we know that 16 out of 29 are girls. So what's left from 16 up to 29? 29 take away 16 is 13. So 13 boys out of 29, and we'll write it as a fraction like this, 13 over 29. A box contains 200 tissues. Again, just pause the video whenever you need to. Sorry, I know this might be going a bit quick now, but pause the video whenever you need to and rewind and make sure that you're really understanding the questions. And please feel free to email us at info@cubitteducation.com for any questions. Okay, let's carry on. A box contains 200 tissues. Toby takes 3/5 of these tissues. Work out how many tissues he takes. So, we need to find 3/5 of 200. 200 divided by 5 is 40. And 40 times 3 is 120. Now again, division here. If you're not confident with division, you could do 20 divided by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. That gives us 4. And then just add the extra 0 on the end from here. And that's the answer. And then again, 4 times 3 is 12. And then you can just add this 0 on the end. A young person's rail card is 1/3 off normal price. Lisa uses her rail card to buy a ticket. She gets 1/3 off the normal price of the ticket. The normal price of the ticket is £24.90. Work out how much Lisa pays for the ticket. All we need to do here is find 1/3 of £24.90. £24.90 divided by 3 is £8.30. All you needed to do here was do 24 divided by 3, gives us 8, and 90 divided by 3 gives us 30. Now this isn't our final answer, we get a third off. So we need to take £8.30 off £24.90. £24.90 take away £8.30 gives us £16.60. Okay, so you can always just do 24 take away 8 gives us 16, and 90 take away 30 gives us 60. There are 30 students in a class. 20 of these students are female. Find the fraction of the class that is female and give your answer in its simplest form. So, there are 30 students in a class and 20 of them are female. So we just need to write down the amount of females out of the entire total. 20 females out of a total of 30 students. To write this in its simplest form, we just have to divide down until we get to our lowest answer. That means we divide the top and bottom by the same number. Both 20 and 30 end in 0, which means I can divide them both by 10. So all I need to do is take the zeros off. Sorry, I rushed that a little bit. Just write those down if you need them, and I hope that makes sense. 20 over 30, and they both divide by 10. We just take the zeros off to give us 2/3. We can't go any lower than that. That's as low as we can go, and that is our final answer. Okay, in a shop, the normal price of a jacket is £60. The cost of the jacket in a sale is 3/4 of the normal price. Work out 3/4 of £60. Okay, so let's look at that one. 3/4 of £60. We're going to do 60 divided by 4, which is 15. Again, when dividing by 4, we just half it and half it again. 60 in half is 30, and half again is 15. 15 times 3, because that's the top number of the fraction, is 45. Darren has to travel 1/8 of a mile to the shop. Write 1/8 as a decimal. Okay, 1/8 as a decimal. Now, I would recommend that you learn some of these, but if you don't know them just yet, you can use your calculator. The line in a fraction means divide, so you can just do 1 divided by 8 on your calculator. Make sure you put the smaller number in first and not 8 divided by 1. So 1 divided by 8. And that's 0.125, and that will be your answer. But some of those I suggest you learn, so like a quarter, a half, 3/4, a third, an eighth, a fifth. The ones that will come up quite regularly, I suggest you learn what the decimals are if you don't know them. I can also show you how to divide small numbers like that, so 1 divided by 8, without a calculator. But we'll come to that at some point. There'll be a video on the website for it. Work out 1/4 of £24. Well, that's nice and easy. 24 divided by 4 is 6. You're just dividing by the bottom number because the top number is a 1. We don't have to do anything with it. Work out 10% of 400 kgs. Now, if you haven't already done percentages, this is a good introduction before you get to the next video. So to work out 10%, all we need to do is divide by 10. So 400 divided by 10 is 40. So 10% of 400 kilograms is 40. 40 kilograms. There are 24 men in a room. Half of the men are wearing a red shirt. A third of the men are wearing a green shirt. The rest of the men are wearing a blue shirt. Work out the number of men wearing a blue shirt. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. There are 24 men in a room, and half of them are wearing a red shirt. So we need to work out a half of 24. To do that, we're just going to do 24 divided by 2, which gives us 12. So there are 12 men wearing red shirts. A third of the men are wearing green shirts. So we need to work out a third of 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So there are 8 men wearing green shirts. Now it says the rest of the men are wearing blue. So we need to do 24, take away the 12, take away the 8. And that gives us 4. Okay, so altogether 12 plus 8 makes 20. So 24 take away 20 gives us 4 left. The number of people wearing blue is 4. Okay, so well done, and thank you for using Cubitt Education. I hope to see you again soon. Please, if there are any questions or there's something you don't understand, you can either add a comment to the lesson or you can email us at info@cubitteducation.com. We really want to help you and make sure that you truly understand the maths that you're doing. If I'm talking too fast, please comment and tell me. If there are things that I've missed out that you're not sure on, please comment and tell me. I am really open for some constructive criticism. And thank you very much, and see you soon.